Hello everyone, it's nice to have you here again. Today we'll be making that boubou you saw at the beginning of the video that has ruffles at the sides and at the neck. Here I have 3 yards of polka dot organza I'll use for the ruffles, and this is the Ankara fabric. I have 6 yards of fabric and 45 inches width. So open up the fabric, then starting from the top, place your full length measurement and add the hem and joining allowance of 2 inches, then mark. My full length is 60 inches. I'll add 2 inches to make it a total of 62 inches. So I'll measure 60 inches here. Then I'll add 2 inches to it. At that point, I'll mark it. Hold that point you just marked and fold the fabric over like you see me do, making sure the right side of the fabric is the one facing you. So we have our folds there at that mark point. Adjust your fabric properly to lay it flat. Next, place the nape to arm measurements wherever you want your Ankara to stop at the top fold of your fabric, making sure it is away from the selvage, and put your mark. Hold that point and fold over because we are cutting both front and back together. Adjust all the way down to the hem. From the top fold of your fabric, you place the full length measurement you have, including allowances. Place everything and mark it. You go also to the other side and mark the same thing. So, using a straight ruler, we are going to join these 2 points together to form our hemline. At the top fold of your fabric, measure out 1/2 inch on both sides. Then, using your straight ruler, connect to form your starting line. On the starting line, place 3 inches neck width measurement from the center fold. Place your mark. Then, place your neck depth measurement. I'm using 2.5 inches. So, I'll connect these 2 points together to form the front neckline. For the back neckline, the neck depth is 1 inch and the width is the same. So, I'll just connect these 2 points together. Using my free hand, guys, you can use your curved ruler. At the edge of your fabric, go down by 2.5 inches from the starting line. Make your mark and connect this point to the neck width. This will form the shoulder slope. The next thing to do is to form the silhouette. So place half your shoulder measurement on the starting line and mark. I'll just mark 7 inches here. Then go to the hemline and place 5 inches less than the width used to fold the entire fabric. So I'll subtract 5 inches from 17 to give me 12 inches. Then I'll mark that point. Now connect that point to the tip of the shoulder slope. From the 7 inches mark on the starting line, which is half your shoulder measurement, place your armhole depth measurement, of which I am using 8 inches. Then mark. From the center fold, place 1/4 of your bust circumference measurement towards the 8 inches marked for the armhole depth. Then add 1.5 or 2 inches allowance to it and mark. Again, from the starting line, place your shoulder to waist measurement and mark it. From center front, place 1/4 of waist circumference measurement plus 2 inches for allowance, then mark. Now place shoulder to hip measurement and make your mark. Then across, place your 1/4 hip circumference measurement plus 1 to 2 inches allowance and mark across. From this armhole point, connect it to the waist using your curved ruler. Turn your curved ruler over and connect the waist to the hip. Now from the hemline, you go up by about 20 inches or whatever length of slit you want, and it also depends on your height. So whatever you want, just place your measurement there and use your curved ruler or your straight ruler to finish up and stop just at that part where you marked. Okay, so that's where your stitch is going to end, just where you marked for this slit. Don't worry guys, I'll show you what the silhouette looks like very soon. I know the chalk is not clear for now. We're going to cut out our fabric now, but before we do that, let us add 1/2 inch shoulder allowance. When you're done with that, start cutting out from the back neckline. So this is what we have so far, guys. So next, separate the inner piece and complete cutting the front neckline. Okay, so we have the front neckline and the inner one is for the back of the fabric. Okay, so at the back, at the center fold, we're going to go down by about 8 inches, then slit it down to that mark. This is to enable our hair to pass through our dress easily. Now separate the back bodies from the front bodies. Turn the front bodies to the right side facing you. Then we're going to highlight the silhouette. This is because we want to transfer it onto the other side of the fabric, and we're going to fold it into half. So what you'll do is to use your chalk and mark the silhouette so that it shows very boldly. That's the only way it can get on the other side of the fabric. So you fold your fabric back and pat it so that our chalk markings can be transferred to the other part of the fabric. Okay, so just use your chalk again to follow that silhouette mark. Okay, so take the back bodies, place it over the front bodies, right side facing each other. Then you stitch it at both shoulders. Now we are done stitching. The next thing we're going to do is to fold the back slit. Okay, the slit opening at the back. So just fold it over. You can use your bias or you can just fold it over and stitch it down. But I prefer to stitch it down. Okay, now that I'm done stitching, the next thing we're going to do is to turn it to the right side. Now take your fabric to your machine and run your stitch over the chalk markings, over the silhouette, okay? Now it's time to make our ruffles. Open up your fabric, then fold the fabric into 2. This is 3 yards of fabric. So after folding it into 2, we'll fold it once again into 2, making sure the selvages touch each other. Adjust, then pin it down. We have to pin it because we are going to cut it and we don't want it to move. We want to cut it very straight. Measure 9 inches from the top of your fabric. This 9 inches is going to be the width of the ruffles that is going to be at the side of our boubou. Okay? Measure and mark and connect all these points together to form a straight line. Repeat this process 4 times and cut them out. Now that we are done cutting the 4 strips, we are going to take 2 and join them together to form a long strip. So at the end of the day, we are going to have 2 long strips, and that is what we are going to be using on each side of our boubou. When you are done joining 2 strips together to form a long strip, The next thing you're going to do is to fold in 1 inch at the edge of one of the sides. Okay, so you fold it in all the way to the end. Then on the other side of the strip, run your gathered stitch. This is what it looks like after folding in at the edge and also running the gathered stitch. Now grab your boubou, spread it out. We have to take the measurement on one side of the boubou so that we'll know how long our ruffle strip is going to be. So use your tape measure to measure what you have. I have about 59 inches here. What I'll do next is to take my strip, using the point where we joined at the center. I'm going to use that as a guide, so I'll place that place at the top of the shoulder. Okay, then I'm going to gather the remaining to 59 inches. And it's going to run all the way from the front to the back. Start pulling the thread to gather it and form the ruffles, adjusting it as you pull it. Then you place it on your fabric and keep adjusting. When you are satisfied with the look, you pin down. For a more fuller ruffle, you can buy about 4 yards or 5 yards, depending on what you want. But I didn't want the ruffle to be too much. So this is the other side now. I'm going to pin down the other side as well. It's really coming out lovely. Okay, so we have pinned both sides of the boubou. So we'll do the same to the other half of the boubou, making sure the right side of the organza is facing the right side of the boubou. I've gone ahead to stitch it on both sides. So the next thing I'm going to do is to work on the neckline. Measure the entire circumference of your neckline. Whatever you get, multiply it by 4. So I had 17 inches, multiplied by 4 will give me 68, but I rounded it up to 70 because of side seam allowance. So place the 70 inches measurement on your organza and mark it. Then measure 2.5 for the width of the neck ruffle. Mark it. Join it to form a straight line, then cut it out. Fold in by ½ an inch the 2 short sides of the strip. Also fold in one of the long sides of the strip. On the other side of the long strip, run your gathered stitch. I've gone ahead to cut 2 pieces of the Ankara for the ruffle stand, each measuring 2½ inches by 90 inches. Mark the wrong sides so that you don't get confused. Fold the strip into 2 to get your center point and mark both wrong and right sides at the center. Do the same also for the organza strip. Now at the center of the Ankara, we will mark out 8½ inches on each side of the center mark, so it forms a total of 17 inches we got for the neckline circumference. That is where we're going to be placing our ruffle, between these 17 inches we have just marked. Start pulling the thread to form the ruffles. Then place the center point of the ruffle on top of the center point of the Ankara together and pin down in place. Then adjust ruffle to touch the points on the two sides of the Ankara. Taking the other strip, place right side of Ankara on the ruffle at the center point and pin down. Pin it down on both sides. At this point, you take it to the machine and stitch it on one side of the fabric and the two edges as well. This is what it looks like after stitching together. So open it up. See what it looks like. It's coming out really beautifully. At this point, I realized that the ruffle stand is a bit too high, so I'm going to be removing 1 inch from it right now. Okay, so I'll just cut out 1 inch from the ruffle stand. To attach the ruffle collar on the neckline, the wrong side of the ruffle on the collar stand should be facing the wrong side of the fabric at the center point. Okay, so at the center point, place your Ankara together, pin it down. So make sure that the ruffle, the wrong side here, is touching the inside of your fabric, the wrong side. Okay, so that's what you're going to do. Pin it down all around the neckline circumference. Once you are done pinning it together, take it to your machine to stitch it. The next thing we're going to do is to cover it, fold it over and stitch it. Okay, so starting from the back, you fold it in by about 1/4 inch. See what I'm doing? Just fold it in by about 1/4, and we're going to stitch it down. We're also going to stitch the ropes at the back. Now I'm on the machine to show you what exactly you need to do. Okay, so for the rope, we're going to fold in this way just by 1/4 of an inch. All right, so at the neckline, fold in and begin to sew. Make sure everything is lined nicely, so you tuck it in and you stitch on top. Keep adjusting as you're stitching. So fold in the ropes also and keep stitching. You will do the same for the other side too. This is what it looks like right now, and it looks so beautiful. I really love it. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is to finish up the hem. Don't forget to weave your seams. Take your boubou to the machine, fold in by 1 inch at the hem from one side of the organza all the way through the ankara to the other side of the organza material. Okay, I'm going to do so for both front and back. And that is the end of our tutorial. If you have enjoyed watching this tutorial, please give me a thumbs up, share to your family and friends. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.